Welcome back, everybody. My name is Paul Smyers. I am a real estate agent in central Pennsylvania, beautiful Shenandoah Valley behind me here. And today I'm going to talk about what actually is the meaning of location. We all know that in real estate they always talk about the location. If you get the right location, well, that depends. So let's talk about it a little bit. For example, there's what they call a general location. For example, if you have a homestead or a house or whatever property, and it's basically a convenient area. Maybe it's got some nice surroundings or something, and maybe even a half decent view. And you can say, well, there's general location values. Maybe it's not too far from the services you need and so on. And for a lot of people, that is just the extent of location. They want to be near something. But there's a lot more to it, especially in a rural area, because every property is so different. You don't really buy a house in a cul-de-sac in a rural area. So there are cul-de-sac types of properties that, okay, it's only like 2 miles down to the grocery store, but everybody who lives in that one area has to go to that same grocery store, so it's very crowded. Now, it may be a popular location and have a nice zip code, but practically speaking, for some people, that's just not the right kind of place at all for them. So their location brings another factor, your specific location. What are the specific needs for you? If you need a certain school, that really kind of sets you up in a situation where you have to have a particular, within a range of the school bus and so on, some way to get your kid to school if you really want a particular school. Now, there's a lot of people who have preschool kids, or they don't have kids yet, or maybe they're elderly, their kids are all gone and so on. Well, then you have a lot more choice about your specific location. So you can select a location that is location right for you. It may not be the ultimate high-end, famous zip code kind of location that a lot of people would want to say, oh, wow, man, look at this home, this great, fantastic location. It has the right zip code. But your personal location has a very different need. Maybe you don't need a school. Maybe you have a dog grooming business or something, and you want to operate it from your business, from your homestead. Maybe you want to have gardens. Maybe you like trees. Maybe you want to have a dog run in the back of your yard instead of taking it down to the local park. If you have other kinds of specific needs for your location, then you have to start evaluating personally what it means for you specifically. So let's go through a few of these here. Typically, people want to be fairly near to a services. They don't want to be 30 miles from a grocery store and there's only one there. I had one time where I lived for a while, I was 20 miles either way to a grocery store. A good grocery store, a half decent one, and much longer to an even better one. So I had certain limits, but because of my work, I'm out and about all day as realtor. I would be out in my territory and I would come across various grocery stores, and I didn't really have to just come back from a job every day or whatever at a certain time, and then, oh, on Saturday I need my groceries and I got to go drive 20 miles each way. So the location for me at that time was okay. I'm just single, I didn't have any kids, things like that. That was okay for me for a while. But for some people, I know that where I used to live for a while was intolerable location. Although I had a stream down below and beautiful views and privacy and all that kind of stuff. But again, location is very specific to you. So employment. If you got to take an income, obviously you need to live somewhere within range of where you're going to go to work. And if you have a two-income household, they might go in different directions. So if you look on a map, maybe for one guy, one person in the income earning team, they want to be in X city over that way, 20 miles to the east. But then, the other party in the income team wants to go 45 miles in the opposite direction. So you have to kind of figure out where logistically you can put yourself in a house situation where if you have, especially if a two-income household, that you're going to be able to go to each of the locations that you need to go to without hampering either one. If you know what I mean, just having a location, one location might be, again, the right zip code that's right near where one person works, but then the other person says, hey, that's not going to work for me. You see, so location, again, specific. The home orientation A lot of people don't think about this, but let's say if you think about maybe you're going to have some solar someday, or just other things like views and so on, and if you get a position of a household that is just set just right on the property where you have like look out the kitchen window, you have a beautiful scene or something like that, or you sit on your deck, or if the house is positioned, I've seen many homes, especially in developments where let's say in a hilly area where technically they could have a lot of views, but some of the houses have a great, fantastic view in that little development and cul-de-sac area, but others have a terrible view. So you want to think about, okay, where do you want to position yourself in the way you angle? Like sometimes you have a facing south front door, and that's really delightful because you walk out the front door and it's all facing south, and you got the beautiful sun from east to west all day and everything. So again, the position of your house might matter to some people, especially if there's something on the house that, say, a deck or a place to have a view. If it's positioned in a way that you can actually have a view and not look over another house or something like that. So home orientation. Recreation. A lot of people want to live in an area that they have all their recreation nearby, especially if you have a family and you don't want to travel 300 miles every single summer to go each way with all your kids to go on vacation. If you live in an area where there's plenty of recreation available, that like where I live here in Central Virginia, there's a lot of campsites, trails, kayaking, canoeing, fishing, hunting, all kinds of recreational opportunities. So people come to this area for vacation, like from the big east coast of Virginia, which is full of traffic and expensive homes. They say, man, I'm tired of that. In the summertime, they come up here to the mountains over here in Western Virginia, and they get away from all that. Like the DC people in the summertime, you can see like a whole bunch of people like go on Route 64 and Route 66 West, leaving DC, going over to the areas where they can go do some tubing and hiking and so on. So if you want to live with low cost for your vacations, especially if you have kids and you can't travel with them very far, it really is handy to be in a location that is near a lot of recreational opportunities, especially like a park or something. Like Waynesboro nearby has some beautiful parks, and they're very easy access with lots of features and even a swimming pool in the summer. So if you have a location that you can entertain your children and so on and have family gatherings and so on, it's really a great asset. So we talked about schools a little bit. Historic area. There are certain areas, like in Virginia, there was a big part of the history of this country, United States, was Virginia. And there's a lot of historic battles here, and a lot of stuff went on back in a long time ago down here in Virginia. And some of the earliest settlers came from Europe to this part of the world, and they discovered Virginia. And there's a really good reason why they settled here, because it has great water, sun, a reasonably mild climate, lots of timber, lots of wildlife, and it just makes a great place for people to just settle down. The Native Americans lived here for a long, long time, of course, and they didn't really possess land the way the Europeans tried to, but that's an old story. But it's just a beautiful area, and that's generally another part of the location is the large scale region, because you can have like the right zip code, that's one thing, and then you can have some of these other things I've been talking about. But then in the general region, like for example, where I'm living in Central Virginia, I have relatives that are up north and I have relatives that are down south. So if I'm kind of midway between them as a grandpa, like I can either go north or south on Route 81, and it's kind of in the middle, because if I live close to one relative, then the other one is farther away. See, so again, the macro location that your region, where are you going to position yourself on the big map so that you can have the most efficient, enjoyable, low stress lifestyle. A lot of people, I've seen it, I used to be in the tour business a long time ago, and you see everybody wants to go to the same place for vacation, and it just gets so crazy sometimes in certain places like Florida or in the east part of all the coast of the United States on the east side and the west side. So if you have an area where you live in that it may not be the prime beachfront property that some people desire, but at the same time, you live in an area that there's a lot of quality of life with the overall economy, and that's another part of location because there's certain areas of the United States where there's a really hot economy for a while about some particular industry, but then you can live in an area that has a lot more stable industry, a variety of industry, both agriculture, retail, transportation, recreation, tourism, all that stuff. If you position yourself again in a regional location in which the overall quality of life is supporting your goals and so on. So that's all I want to say today about location. Please watch some of my other videos. If you like and share the content, I really appreciate it. And I watch a lot of other people's content, and I love the feedback. So thanks again. I hope to see you in some of my other videos.